In the abyssal depths of hell, beyond the reach of mortal comprehension, lies a court of unrivaled power and malice. These are no mere demons, no wandering spirits of chaos. They are the seven princes of hell, ancient lords who rule over the vices that plague humanity. Their dominion is vast, their influence insidious. Each represents a sin, a dark fragment of the human soul, that they wield like a weapon, ensnaring mortals in a web of temptation, corruption, and despair. To understand them is to glimpse into the darkness within ourselves. Lucifer, the Prince of Pride. At the pinnacle of the infernal hierarchy stands Lucifer, the morning star, the fallen one. Once the most beautiful and powerful of all the angels, Lucifer's heart burned with an unquenchable desire for greatness. He refused to bow to anyone, even to the Creator himself. In his pride, he sought to overthrow heaven, leading a rebellion that ended in catastrophic defeat. Cast down into the pit, Lucifer embraced his fall, proclaiming himself the king of hell. Pride is his weapon, a sin subtle yet devastating. He whispers to mortals, "You are greater than the gods you serve." Through arrogance and vanity, he lures kings to ruin and topples empires built on humility. Lucifer's pride is not just in himself, but in the belief that the universe should bow to his will. His beauty, though scarred, remains mesmerizing, for he is the ultimate deceiver, offering the illusion of greatness while leading his victims to destruction. Mammon, the Prince of Greed. Next is Mammon, the Prince of Greed, whose hunger for wealth and power knows no bounds. Mammon is a grotesque figure, bloated by his own avarice, surrounded by treasures stolen from the dreams of men. He promises prosperity to those who seek his favor, but his gifts come at a price: enslavement to their own desires. Mammon's influence extends far beyond gold and jewels. He embodies greed in all its forms: the relentless pursuit of material wealth, the exploitation of others for personal gain, and the obsession with power. Nations crumble under his sway, their leaders blinded by ambition. To Mammon, humanity is a commodity to be traded, and his victims willingly sell their souls, believing that they can never have enough. Asmodeus, the Prince of Lust. Asmodeus, the Prince of Lust, is both a tempter and a destroyer. He is the embodiment of unbridled desire, the force that twists love into obsession and passion into ruin. Asmodeus moves effortlessly between the worlds of men and demons, sowing discord in relationships and luring mortals into acts of forbidden pleasure. His beauty is his weapon, for he can appear as whatever form his prey most desires. But behind the mask of seduction lies a being of insatiable hunger, feeding off the souls he ensnares. Asmodeus does not merely incite lust. He revels in its consequences: broken families, shattered hearts, and lives consumed by regret. His power lies in the shadows, where temptation festers in secrecy. Leviathan, the Prince of Envy. In the darkest depths of envy's domain dwells Leviathan, the great serpent of the sea. This ancient prince is the manifestation of jealousy and bitterness. His voice is a hiss that whispers in the minds of men. Why do they have what you deserve? Leviathan's power lies in his ability to turn admiration into resentment, desire into hatred. He thrives on the envy that corrodes human bonds, turning friends into enemies, families into battlegrounds, and dreams into nightmares. His victims are consumed by their longing for what they cannot have, blinded to their own blessings. As Leviathan stirs the seas of discontent, he leaves only destruction in his wake. Beelzebub, the Prince of Gluttony. At the eternal banquet of excess sits Beelzebub, the Lord of Flies and the Prince of Gluttony. His appetite is boundless, consuming all in his path. But gluttony is not merely the sin of overeating. It is the sin of excess in all things. Beelzebub lures mortals into lives of indulgence, where nothing is enough and more is always better. His victims lose themselves in their cravings, whether for food, drink, pleasure, or power. They become enslaved to their desires, their lives spiraling into ruin. Beelzebub thrives on their inability to control themselves, feeding not just on their bodies, but on their very souls. Satan, the Prince of Wrath. Satan, the Prince of Wrath, is the embodiment of rage, vengeance, and destruction. While often conflated with Lucifer, Satan is a distinct entity, one driven not by pride, but by pure, unrelenting fury. He is the fire that consumes everything in its path, the hatred that blinds reason. Satan stokes the flames of conflict in the hearts of men, driving them to war, violence, and revenge. He feeds on the chaos of battle and the cries of the fallen. His wrath is indiscriminate, sparing no one, not even his own followers. To summon Satan's power is to invite ruin, for his anger knows no limits. Belphegor, the Prince of Sloth. Last among the seven is Belphegor, the Prince of Sloth. Unlike his fiery brethren, Belphegor's power is quiet, almost unnoticed. He is the whisper of "why bother" that paralyzes ambition, the lure of comfort that leads to stagnation. Belphegor's sin is one of omission, a slow decay that rots away the will to act, to strive, to dream. His victims do not fall in a blaze of glory. They simply fade, their lives wasted in apathy. He is the patron of wasted potential, his domain littered with the ruins of what could have been. These are the seven princes of hell, the sovereigns of sin. They are not distant evils, but reflections of the darkness within us all. They do not force, they tempt, seduce, and whisper. To know their names is to know the perils of human weakness. To resist their call is to fight the eternal battle for the soul. Do you hear their whispers? Or have you already answered their call?